Good day, boys and girls. You all know me as the Flash. But we don't want you to be the Flash with this assignment. We want you to take your time, think it over, and work it through. If you would, please pay attention to the video and your teacher. Thank you.
We are looking at Lesson 4, 3D Math, and it's going to be dealing with subtraction from a cube, just to make it more interesting. However, this time we're going to subtract numbers from 0. Now, you've clicked on this button here, and by doing that, it is bringing up this video, and it's also going to help you later on. Let's look basically and see what we have here. Okay, we have a cube. We have numbers at the top, numbers on the left, and we have numbers in front of us. Let's look at this first one to see basically what we're talking about. Here's 20 minus 5. You can't take 5 from 0, can you? No. So our answer really is 15. But how did we get to 15? Well, here's how we got that. 5 from 0 can't do, so we borrow a 1 from the tens column. No longer is this a 2, it's a 1. And we transfer 10 over to here. Now, 5 from 10 is 5, and we bring down the 1. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's look at this one on this side and see if we have the same thing. 60 minus 4, and the answer is 56. But how do we get that? Well, here's how we did. You can't subtract 4 from 0, so we borrow from the tens column. This is no longer 6. This will be a 5, and we bring 10 over here. Now, 4 from 10 is 6, and we bring down the 5. Okay, if you would please, we'd like to have you pause the video, you complete the rest of these, then play the video, and we will provide you with the answer. If you would, please pause the video now. Thank you. Okay, let's continue on. Here we have 10 minus 4. Well, the answer to that is simply 6. How do we get that? Well, relatively speaking, here's what you have to do again. You can't subtract 4 from 0. So we borrow a 10, which means there's nothing over there, and we have 10 here. So 4 from 10 is 6. Hopefully that one came pretty easy. Let's look at this one. 30 minus 9. You can't subtract 9 from 0, right? And the answer is 21. How do we get that? Well, again, here's what we had to do. You can't take 9 from 0, so you have to borrow a 1 from the tens. And that makes this a 2. And this now is a 10. 9 from 10 is 1. And you bring down the 2. Very good. Okay, let's look at the next one. 70 minus 15. And the answer is 55. How'd this come about? Well, 5 you can't take from 0. You already know that. So what we have to do is take a 10. That makes this a 6. And this is now a 10. 5 from 10 is 5. What is 1 from 6? 5. So our answer is 55. Hopefully that one made sense. 40 minus 16. The answer is 24. How do we get that? 6 from 0, can't do. You have to borrow a 10, which makes this no longer a 4, but a 3. And this is a 10. 6 from 10 is 4. And 1 from 3 is 2. So the answer is 24. Okay, let's go over here to the side. 34 minus 3. The answer is 31. And how does that come about? Well, 3 from 4 is 1. We already know that. This is an easy one. And you just simply bring down the 3 because we didn't take anything from it. Okay, let's look at this one. 99 minus 8. Well, the answer is 91. How'd that come about? Well, pretty simple. 9 minus 8 is 1. And we, again, did not take anything from the nines column, so we have a 9. So the answer is 98. To double check, 91 plus 8 is 99. Okay, let's look at the next one. 25 minus 10. Ooh, cakewalk. 15. How'd that come about? Well, simply put, 0 from 5 is 5 and 1 from 2 is 1. Let's look at the next one. Here we have 20, that's 0, minus 8. Well, the answer for this one is 12. And you should already know how we did that. You can't take an 8 from a 0, so we have to take one of the 10s. So that no longer is a 2, it's a 1. And this is a 10. 8 from 10 is 2. And you bring the 1 down. Okay, let's look at this one. 35 minus 25. And the answer is 10. How'd that come about? Well, simply put, 5 from 5 is 0, and 2 from 3 is 1. So, to double check, 25 plus 10 is 35. Now, let's look at the next one. 30 minus 15. 5 from 0, can't do, so what do you have to do? Well, 5, the answer is 15. 5 from 0, you can't do, so you have to borrow from the tens column. So we borrow 10 from here, which makes this now a 2, and this is a 10. 5 from 10 is 5, and 1 from 2 is 5. So 30 minus 15 is 15. Okay, let's look at the top and see how this one worked. 50 minus 12. Well, the answer is 38. And how do we get that? Well, 2 from 10 can't do, or 2 from 0 can't do. You have to borrow from the tens column. So now this is a 4, and this is a 10. 2 from 10 is 8. 1 from 4 is 3. So our answer is 38. Okay, 80 minus 25. The answer is 55. How do we get it? Well, 5 from 0 can't do, so you have to borrow a 10. So this no longer is an 8, it's a 7, and we move the 10s over here. 5 from 10 is 5. 2 from 7 is 5. So our answer is 55. Okay, the next one is a big number. We have 100 minus 4. And the answer is 96. Now, how did this come about? Well, it's the same basic logic. You cannot take 4 from 0. So what we have to do is borrow from the tens column. Oh, look, there's nothing there. So we borrow from the hundreds column. So we borrow 10 tens, and that makes this 10 tens. However, we take one of those 10s, and this makes this a 9, and makes this a 10. Now, what is 4 from 10? 6. And we simply bring down the 9. So your answer is 96. Let's look at this one again, just to make sure we understand completely. Here's 100 minus 4. 4 from 0, can't do. Oh, there's nothing in the tens column, so we have to borrow from the hundreds. So we borrow 10 tens, which makes this 10 tens. However, we need to borrow one of those 10s, which makes this a 9, and we bring it right over here. 4 from 10 is 6, and we just simply bring down the 9. Hopefully that one made sense. Okay, 30 minus 5. Answer, 25. Well, again, same basic idea. 5 from 0 can't do, so we borrow from the tens column. This no longer is a 3, this is a 2. So, 5 from 10 is 5, and we bring down the 2. Let's look at the next one. 10 minus 6. 10 minus 6 is 4. How does this one work? Well, we should already know this, right? You can't subtract 6 from 0, so we borrow it from the tens column and makes this a 10. What is 10 minus 6? 4. Pretty easy. Okay, and the last one we have here is 90 minus 16, and the answer is 74. How did this one come about? Well, you can't subtract 6 from 0, so we borrow a 10 from the 9s. That's going to make this an 8. Right? And this now is a 10. 6 from 10 is 4. 1 from 8 is 7. So your answer is 74. Well, we hope this one helped you out. If it did, that's great. That's outstanding. And we'd like to thank you for watching our video.
That's all, folks.